Spring 2008 on TSN is brought to you by the new Q horsepower from Quaker State. Unleash all your horses. And Michelin, a better way forward.
The Michelin Challenge Bibendum is an event that showcases future vehicles and alternative fuels as we look towards sustainable mobility. The last one was held in Shanghai, China, where people are moving from bikes to automobiles at breakneck speed. Now, it may surprise some that a petroleum company is among the many exhibitors. I mean, they are in the business of selling oil, right? Well, as we know, motorists usually don't have any kind words for these companies while filling up at the gas station. So are all these companies and the people who work for them, are they all bad folk? Well, recently we had an opportunity to go behind the scenes of one of the world's largest oil companies to meet the people and learn more about the business. Our journey begins in Houston.
We are the largest global lubricant company in the world, and you're at the facility here in West Hollow, Texas, just outside Houston. And this area that you're in covers 200 acres and 43 buildings and 1,400 employees, of which are all scientists and engineers, and 75% of those are PhDs. So really big, deep thinkers that are here to develop the latest in lubricants and fuel technology.
There's a lot of things changing on the horizon for the engines, and likewise the engine oil has to be able to keep up with that. You've got hybrid vehicles where some things are similar to engines that we have now, some things are very different. There's a lot going on behind the scenes to try and make the fuel and the lubricants better and better to work in more highly refined and engineered automobiles. And it's interesting trying to line up all the details to make sure that all the subtle nuances of the engine and all the properties of the oil or fuel all line up together.
As a young girl, Zelda Gunzel had a passion for science and math. Today, she is one of the world's leading authorities on the science of tribology.
I think the average consumer or customer may not appreciate all the science and work that goes into formulating a quart of engine oil, but there is a lot of science behind it. As I mentioned earlier, there's a specialty scientific area called tribology, which is the science of friction, wear, and lubrication. A simpler way to describe it is really the science of interacting surfaces. So the primary purpose of using a lubricant in an engine is to reduce friction and wear. And by designing lubricants that reduce friction in these rubbing parts, you can actually improve fuel efficiency. So this is one of our important research platforms. Racing represents an environment where we really stress our products beyond their design limitations. And racing environment is very stressful, high temperatures, high loads, and if our lubricants can survive under those conditions, we can take those learnings and apply them to our everyday regular products.
In Brockville, Ontario, we have a state-of-the-art lubrication facility. It is the last blending plant that was built in North America about 10 years ago, roughly. And it produces all the quality Shell lubricants, Pennzoil, and Quaker State lubricants for Canada. The blending facility is state-of-the-art. It is all computerized. It looks like the console of a 747 with all the computerization of it, so that you get absolutely the right amount of base oil, the right amount of additives, all the componentry that goes into today's modern lubricants. Well, in Brockville, in the last 12, 18 months, we spent in excess of $20 million upgrading the facility, and the tank farm was all redone with a new bed that's put in to sustain any spillage that could occur. We're very proud that we don't usually run into these types of things, but to stop any possibility of leaching into the environment is totally preventable now. On occasion, we do get a bad rap being the large energy companies, but the amount of investment that goes back into sustainable development, Shell itself is investing like $23 billion a year back into developing future technologies, whether it's wind power, solar power, better lubricants, better fuels, to increase fuel economy, reduce the carbon footprint by all the consumers around the world.
Someone once told me changing engine oil is just like using dental floss. You don't need to do it, but by doing it, you are able to really maintain the health of your teeth for the long time. I think you can use the same analogy in engine oils. Engine oil is really the lifeblood of an engine. Without a lubricant, you can't really operate, so it's important to choose the right oil for your vehicle.
Me complain? Well, it's been known to happen, but at least I'm consistent. More later on Kenzie's Corner.
The people that know me already think I'm a little touched, but not even I am daft enough to use these things on this edition of Test Drive. Why? The Wrangler Rubicon. Building on Jeep's tried and true body-on-frame construction, the Rubicon is all about freedom and its mastery in an off-road situation. This is a truck that knows virtually no boundary. It starts with the needed power. The 3.8-litre V6 churns out 202 horsepower and 237 pound-feet of torque. Fire this lot through a 6-speed manual and the Rubicon has decent pickup. It'll put 100k on the clock in about 8 seconds, which is not too shabby for the class. For the softies, well, there's also an automatic transmission available. Everybody knows the Wrangler is a serious off-road vehicle. The Rubicon, however, ratchets things up a couple of notches more. You've got the ground clearance, the tow hooks, the skid plates, and of course the knobby tyres. The two extra things you get, the first is the ability to lock the front and rear differential when you're in 4 low. That means that if only one wheel has got traction, you keep plodding along. The second feature, you can disconnect the front sway bar by simply pushing a button. That increases the front suspension travel by about 30%. And that's what keeps these tyres in the dirt where they do their best work. Select 4 low and the engine's power is fired through the transfer case and 410 axles. The multiplication factor gives the Rubicon Herculean-like low-end grunt. When the sway bars are disconnected, the Rubicon will climb just about everything short of a high-rise building. Rumbling up and down some serious grades didn't even see the Rubicon break a sweat. The interior of the Rubicon is not what you expect. To begin with, the front seats are comfortable and they're covered in Yes Essential material, which means they're stain and odor resistant. You also get the power items you want. Power windows, power locks, air conditioning, and a very good audio package that includes Sirius satellite radio. I was expecting rude and crude. This thing's anything but. Riding on 5-link suspensions and solid axles, the Rubicon's exclusive setup is subtle enough it does not transmit the gnarly bits back to the riders, and so the need for an extensive dental plan is non-existent. On-road, however, the soft ride translates into noticeable body roll. Likewise, the sharp steering and tiny turning circle that are an integral part of the Rubicon's ability to navigate a narrow trail brings a feel that's a tad vague on-road. Surprisingly, the knobby tyres that bring so much off-road grip are not that noisy on-road, which proved to be an unexpected bonus. The back seat is best used for additional storage, unless of course you're a gymnast with the flexibility and extra joints needed to duck and dive around the various obstacles. Likewise, if you're going to take advantage of the Freedom Roof, make sure you leave the panels at home. The reason? There really isn't anywhere inside the vehicle to store them without the risk of damage. And if you do decide to go topless, just remember to pray to the weather gods. Layering this ability with an advanced electronic stability control system adds the finishing touch. When in 2- and 4-wheel drive high, the system provides stability control, rollover mitigation and traction control, and so it works to ensure the power goes to the wheel that can put it to the best use. Be warned though, selecting 4 low turns everything off because of the lock center differential. In the real world this matters not, because the last thing one needs halfway up a death-defying climb is an electronic overseer shutting down the power. The Rubicon is an awesome off-roader and it'll take you just about anywhere your little heart desires. It really is very good in the dirt, but all of the things that make it so good in that environment are also the things that make it somewhat of a compromise on-road. However, a wise man once said, you wouldn't take an F1 car off-road so why would you expect an off-roader to carve a corner?
This car is the result of one chief engineer's passion and an execution across the company of a vision of what performance Lexus style could be. It's all about aspiration and the halo that the ISF is going to cast for the whole IS series and broadly for the brand. So we've announced not only the ISF and the sort of hot performance that you can hear in the distance on the track behind me, but also that we're introducing a line of F performance parts so that anyone with an IS series car can begin to personalize the vehicle, build that performance, and experience in their own way some of what F has to offer.
First off, it's powered by an all-new 5-liter V8 engine that produces 416 horsepower and 371 foot-pounds of torque. It's matched with a brand new 8-speed sport direct shift transmission, which is designed to emulate a manual transmission in M mode, so it provides very rapid upshifts, 1/10 of a second. And it's coupled with or combined with a new version of VDIM, or Vehicle Dynamics Integrated Management. And you hear in the background the sound of the engine with the new dual intake system, and that secondary intake, when it opens up, gives it that real performance sound that is new and unique to Lexus. Brand new brake system, Brembo brakes, front and rear, 14.2-inch front, 13.6-inch rear, 6 piston calipers in the front, so very solid braking, and there's no fade at all during the course of a day, so the braking system is amazing. The wheels now are BBS wheels, 19-inch, that really look spectacular, as well as being very functional, light, and the vehicle has been lowered, so it's got a more aggressive stance, and it's designed to be able to be more aerodynamic and operate better, especially under high speeds.
It's pretty good. Honestly, I'm impressed because Lexus, well, usually Lexus, it's comfortable, it's smooth, you know, it's high quality, but fun to drive? I wouldn't associate it too much with Lexus product. This car is fun to drive. There's a nice sound, there's good power. It's a car that's got a ton of potential. They have a BMW Contender. Of course, it can compete easily with the 335, which is a great car, but I don't think right now it's up to the M3 standard. The M3 is still an amazing car, and just when we brake, like with this IS car, when you brake, the front end dives a bit more. The Beamer has bigger brakes, bigger tires, so when you brake, it sits on all four, and you feel that the braking distance are a bit shorter. Same when you enter a fast corner on racetrack. If your front end dives too much and you enter, the rear end is really loose, so you can lose the car. So it kind of relies more on the electronic to control all that movement, while with the M3, the rear end slides easier, it's easier to control a bit. So, of course, BM is making M3 since forever, so we know that BMW had the time to make it evolve. But I think right now, with a $65,000 car, they really have something that has a ton of potential for the future.
I kept thinking, Lexus? This can't be a Lexus. You know, just the sheer performance of it, the handling. They've got something that they can really build on here. Whether they can build the cachet or not is another question, but they've certainly got something to build on.
Whenever I go into a plant, I'm always amazed at the automated technology at work. I mean, imagine the painstaking research to develop a bottle line like this one at the Shell plant in Brockville, Ontario. This one, incidentally, is a product of Italian engineering. Well, I know one man who really wanted to make that trip to Brockville with us, but couldn't, and that's our man in the Quicker State Garage, Bill Gardner. And you know, speaking of Italy, I'll bet you our Billy's got a little Italian blood in him. How about it, Bill?
Well, Brad, you know, when we're going out for dinner and anybody asks me to pick, first choice is always the Italian food, that's for sure. Anyhow, this week we've got a bit of a problem with our 2002 Yukon, the one that the camera guys use, the crew truck for our show. And we've got a little bit of situation where it's wanting to pull to the right, and there's a little bit of waddle to that steering wheel. You can see that if I release my grip on the steering wheel, there's a little bit of kick to that steering wheel and it wants to pull to the right. So we've probably got a tire situation going on here that we need to look into. A lot of people might think, well, maybe that's an alignment deal, low tire pressure, and certainly in some cases it could be something like that. But the fact that we've got shimmy in that steering wheel at certain speeds, and it's worse on some days than others, definitely making me think we've got a tire situation. Now that we're back from our road test, we can lift up the front axle of our Yukon, and we're going to reveal the problem that's causing that shimmy or waddle in the steering wheel and the pull to the right. Now when I rotate this right front tire, you can see the run out in the tread. It's not running smoothly, it's wobbling back and forth, and that run out indicates that we've got the beginning stages of tread separation on this right front tire. Now, this vehicle's about 6 years old. It's got 94,000 K on it. This is an original tire. There's still quite a bit of tread depth remaining on this tire. It's by no means worn out, but it's got a problem that requires replacement of the tire or tires that's exhibiting this condition. The right front for sure is gone. There's one other new tire in this vehicle, 3 that have the 94,000 K on them, so their time is up. It's time to replace them, and there's no amount of rotating, balancing, adjusting of tire pressure that will correct this. We've got to replace the tires. Then we can do the wheel alignment, do our monthly tire pressure checks to make sure we maintain the tires. But when that tread separation thing starts, what we've got is the tread starting to lift, a little bit of an air pocket that develops, air bleeds out of the carcass and gets between the carcass and the tread, lifts up the tread. We get that wobbling that we see. In some cases it can be very pronounced, much more grotesque than this tire has, but in any case, you start to feel that shimmy in the steering wheel, pulling to the right or left, shaking, balance conditions that you can't get away from. Those are indications of a big tire problem. Don't ignore it. Get your vehicle in, get it checked, and get the offending tires replaced. Till next week, I'm Bill Gardner for Motoring 2008.
As you can see, the Zeo is a 4-passenger, all-electric 2+2 sports wagon that's steeped in Dodge attitude. With its heroic proportions, muscular forms, and yes, 23-inch wheels pushed to the corners, Zeo represents a new, youthful breed of performance machine. Behind Zeo's scissor doors is a highly inventive sculpted interior with a dual cockpit effect. The designers envisaged this interior as a single, beautiful piece of sculpture with sloping surfaces accented with continuous narrow blue LED light strip that sweeps throughout the interior, enhancing its futuristic, sporty forms.
Zeo not only looks fast, it is, with performance that is perfectly aligned to the Dodge brand. In fact, Zeo stands for Zero Emissions Operation because it is a battery electric vehicle with 250 miles of all-electric range. Zeo's average operating cost is less than 3 cents per mile, which is equivalent to more than 130 miles per gallon. Electricity is provided by multiple battery modules placed under the floor, with a total energy rating of 64 kilowatt hours. Power is delivered to the rear wheels using the shared 200 kilowatt electric motor. The combination of an all-aluminum vehicle structure and more than 250 horsepower at the wheels accelerates Zeo from 0 to 60 in less than 6 seconds. Now that's Hemi territory.
Ron Fellows, he's a great racer, and he played a role in developing these tires because we developed tires, we tested them internally, and then we had Ron actually drive the tires we designed on the Road Atlanta racetrack and give us some feedback on what he thought and how it would feel for the end customer. What he brought to us was a confirmation that yes, what we learn in racing, we can bring it to a road tire.
It's your contact with the road, and it can't be taken lightly. That's where all the stability comes from. That's where all your control comes from, is your contact with the road, and that's where the rubber meets the road. That's it.
Closed captioning of Motoring 2008 is brought to you by the totally new Chevrolet Malibu, 2008 North American Car of the Year.
Now Now, pretty much for as long as this show's been on the air, I've been telling you that stupid, useless vehicles and full-size pickup trucks make no sense for about 90% of the people that own them. Now, if you need one, fair enough. I mean, I owned a Suburban for 10 years because I had 4 kids. I had no choice. And if you're hauling around cement bags for your construction company, no arguments. But to take little Brittany to her private school every morning, or you're a solitary lawyer driving your 6,000-pound SUV to your downtown office, to me that just doesn't make any sense. That said, you pay for the fuel, it's a free country, you can do what you want. Still, the governments of the world have been trying to encourage people to be more environmentally friendly, mostly by forcing car makers to build more fuel-efficient cars. Except they haven't given them any incentive to buy them. So people drive their big trucks because that's what they wanted. Now, in recent months, the price of fuel has been going higher and higher and higher, and guess what? The sales of these big vehicles have fallen into the toilet. The irony is that some of the same people that were whining about people driving too much in these big vehicles because it hurt the environment are now complaining about the price of fuel. Wait a minute, guys. That's the point. The price of fuel goes up, people drive less. It's called the free market, folks, and it works. I'm Jim Kenzie.
Well, that's it for this week. A quick reminder about our new and evolving motoringtv.com website. It's a place to go if you miss an episode on TSN or you want to go through memory lane and go back to earlier broadcasts. In fact, you'll soon be able to go back and watch broadcasts from 1988. And I know we have viewers out there who weren't even born then. And incidentally, when you check out the site, we'd love to hear from you, any comments or suggestions. That's it for now. We'll see you next time out as we continue to bring you more stories about cars and the people who drive them.
I've been test driving cars since 1988, one a week since then. That's a lot of cars, I think over 1,000. What we're doing today is taking 13 cars and driving in a fuel-efficient manner to see how far they'll go and hopefully pick a winner at the end of the day.
I think it's going to be imperative that people will have to find a fuel-efficient vehicle to drive as a daily driver. The price of gas is probably going to hit $2 by the end of this year. We have to do something to drive something that is more fuel-efficient.
Motoring 2008 on TSN has been brought to you by the new Q horsepower from Quaker State. Unleash all your horses. And Michelin, a better way forward.